Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Once again, today we have Dr. Yahya Hassan with us as we do our podcast every Saturday. Today we are here with a very unique topic and a very, very important topic for the leaders, for the upcoming leaders and the youth. And thank you, Dr. Yahya, once again for giving us this opportunity to be with us and giving your precious experience and sharing your thoughts with us.
Wa alaikum assalam, and thank you. Thank you for giving me opportunity to talk to you all. It is definitely a privilege to talk to the people who really want to shape the future. And when we talk about shaping the future and with today's topic about how going to change the future and using the help of technology or not, we need to start thinking about the people who are willing to change. It is not starting from someday. It is not starting for another day or someday when you have a title. It is starting now. A lot of people think that whenever you have a title, whenever you have a position in your group, only then you will have that leadership in strategies, or you will begin to be a leader. But it really starts with intentions. Many of you have seen little kids when they group up, right? So you will see one child who is grouping everybody together. You will see some children who will just sit and listen to that person. You will know that this person has ability to lead. This person can be the leader. But the problem happens is because this is an ability that can be developed over time or can be forgiven or can be just given up over time. So the leader who might be a leader when he was a child or she was a child might not be a leader when they become older. Therefore, it is important. The intention to be the leader, intention to continue, is important. Today, it is a very fast-paced life that we have. Anywhere you see, we used to say only New York City has a fast-paced life, or California or some other states. But now everywhere, because we live in a place where we are doing business online. So life is very fast and it is full of noise. It is changing every day. For example, AI, if you are in the technology that you're looking at today, it will be different tomorrow. I am working with ChatGPT with the day that it came up. AI is there for very long, but ChatGPT's boom came not that while ago. So I'm working with it since that day, but still it is changing. I'm going through lectures and trainings, but every time I look up, it's different. So when you're talking about the next generation of leaders, they need to be yes, technology is going to change, but what is not going to change and should not change is the purpose, is they need to be guided by empathy. They need to be bold enough to reimagine what is possible. They need to look at horizon in a different way. They need to look at not sky is the limit, but beyond that, because this is, when we talk about learning through, and again, I'm a practicing Muslim. So when we talk about as Islam, we talk about the Quran talks about how this universe is extending. It's going above and beyond, right? So we need to think that way too. That this is not sky is not the limit. It is beyond that. We need to continue doing this. When we are talking about uh, future, we are not just preparing for the future. We are going to be the future. The leaders, or especially young adults that we have, they are going to lead that future. The education that they get, it is important that how they think of the future, how they think of themselves. So the question is not no longer that will you lead, but it is about how you lead. And when we talk about how you lead, it is important that any leader has to be courageous, has to have a courage to lead. They need to have a vision. They need to have that conviction that they can make a difference. Again, they cannot limit themselves to just the sky.
So now, when you say, you spoke about AI, you spoke about technology, then you spoke about the skill set of a leader. Uh, a child grows as you said, that if a child is a leader at the very young age, he might not be a leader by the time he's at the teenage. So, as you've always said, that this can be learned, how to be a good leader. How important it is for a leader to keep himself or herself updated with the technology, not only with the technology, with everything which is changing, psychology, handling people, emotional intelligence. How important these skills are for a leader to keep himself updated to it. If a person doesn't do it, second question, I'm sorry, but if a person doesn't do it, would he be considered as a bad leader?
So I will answer the second question first. So if a person does not keep themselves up to date,
Mhm.
I think they will not be able to continue stay as a leader
Mhm.
because they are not self-aware. They are not aware of their surroundings, and that is the key to what's happening. Self-awareness is the important part. You have to know your strength, you have to know your weaknesses, you have to know the values that you have. For example, I'm from Pakistan. From a lower middle class. I'm a Muslim. I was born in a Muslim family. uh, I need to remember these things. I need to know where I studied and how I grew up. I can be the president of some institute, or I can be the president of some institute, or I can be the leader of some place. But that doesn't mean that I'm going to forget my values, forget where I came from. It is important to know that in order to have an impact on other people, you need to know who you are first. And in understanding the strength and weaknesses and learning things that you don't know. So to answer to your second question, and is they won't be able to lead, or they are not the leaders. You cannot call them bad or good leaders. They're just not the leader because they don't have that ability of self-awareness. That's the prime key. Other part that a leader needs to have is a vision. Now, when we talk about a vision, vision is not something. Every time when you hear, oh, do you have a vision, we always align that with an institution, or with you're leading an organization or whatever. It is Vision is a clear and sense of your direction, right? It is what you see in front of you. For example, you're a soccer player. If you can clearly see, I'm going to pass to this person, and then I'm going to run this place, and this person will pass it to me, and I'm going to shoot it in the goal. That's your vision, right? You can see, uh, and then the leader must see beyond what is really in front of that person, and it inspires other to see that too. A lot of times what happens is, and then again, a leader is not a leader, or a person who cannot call themselves leader if they have a vision but they cannot really impact other people with it. You can say, oh, you know what, I have an idea. And then you have seen many people, especially young people these days, oh, I have an idea of this, or this thing to do. Oh, I'm going to develop this app. Oh, I'm going to develop this, or I'm going to be a CEO. Okay, fine, you can put a CEO, it's a title, but you're not going to be able to lead because you don't have a clear vision of what this app is going to do. Then that is where it comes to your integrity, personal integrity, to be honest with your own self. You have to know, is what things that you're doing is the right things that you're doing. You're leading them the right way. Sometimes leaders do have visions, or clear vision of leading some people, and they can impact. But because of their personal ego, they're unable to give the right direction to people because in their vision, they know they are going to fail. For example, I want to climb Mount Everest and the weather is really bad. If I'm leading that group of people who are climbing the mountain, just because of my ego that I say, hey, today I must climb up. I have target of climbing up today. And I continue doing that, I will kill myself and kill other people too. I was a great leader until I reached that ego point of my time, right? So that is important, that yes, you can have your vision, you can be self-aware, you know what you're going, but then you need to be honest to yourself. You need to be ethical. You need to be consistent. You cannot have the consistency where you're saying, okay, you know what, I'm great at it. I'm doing everything by honesty. But when it comes to spending money or doing something, I'm going away with that concept. I'm saying, you know what, it's okay to cheat people a little bit. You know, it's everybody's doing it, so I'll do that too. No, you cannot do it because you are a leader with integrity. Doesn't matter who's watching or not. You have to understand that it is you who is leading. It is you who is the leader. um, you cannot treat other people or people differently because everybody has to be treated in the same way. We have to know that when leaders are talking about trust, it has to be earned, and with your actions, not with your words. And we have seen people in past who are great with words, and people follow them because of their words. And every leader has to have good communication. We talked about it. But then those words needs to be translated into actions. If a leader is unable to do that, you will see that those leaders are caught. For example, you have seen these some yogis and some other people who have been caught lying. They have great words, they inspire people, people follow them, but they're not doing what they are teaching them. So, and we'll talk more about it as we move forward in the podcast.
Okay. Now, you brought up a very important topic, ego. Sometimes, you know, it's not an ego. It's for a leader to be persistent about some particular thing, and the followers might think it's an ego. Sometimes it's really an ego, which is really coming in between making a decision about a certain thing. So how would you say how important it is for a leader to be courageous, to be persistent, and having an ego?
So ego is a very complex thing, right? And when we especially talk about ego in terms of leadership, it gets a little bit more complex. So ego is more like your mental state, right? Of ourselves, where we how we want others to perceive us, how we measure our worth and success. It it's really shaped by our experiences in our life and our how we were grown up, how which culture we were in, and then how we perceive ourselves. So if you are a leader, I will go back to self-awareness. If you know yourself, ego is it's not like every person has it. Some people are able to push it down. Some people keep it up high, right? It's that ego that really blocks your growth and learning because you think that you know it all, right? For example, if I take myself and I say, you know what, um, I know it all about leadership. I don't need to learn from nobody, and I stop reading books. So I stopped my learning and I stopped my growth, right? These leadership podcast, yes, I'm doing to spread the knowledge that I have, but I'm also doing it for my personal growth. The reason for that is every time I finish a podcast, I learn more than what I have given. So I'm thankful to you and other people for this. Why? Because those questions that come up, it's changed my mindset, right? So if you have an ego, it it gives you if so again, ego is the one that gives you confidence to speak up, right? Pursue your goals. But if you start prioritizing your ego over your goals, over what you are doing, then you are going to block your future. So as a leader, you will be able to do great if you let this ego um, push you to do better, but you need to keep it checked. If you don't check it, then what's going to happen is you are going to see that as I mentioned, learning is going to be blocked. You are going to stop trusting your team. You will break their trust too because the team is saying, you know what, this guy is always going to say he's right. So what's the point of me doing anything? Oh, you know what? I need a paycheck, so I'm just going to listen to him and do my job. So now this actually creates a problem. Why? Because you are not able to delegate anymore. You are not able to lead by empathy because it's your way or highway, right? So now people are not going to do their job, and they are not going to do better, or going to think out of the box because they're relying on you. Companies fall if they have only one person, and the company might be doing good not because it was a true leadership model or the company was great. It was the person was great at what they were doing, but they were doing everything, and now they got burnt out. And because I didn't check my ego, now company fell. People were doing it not because they liked the person, but because they wanted a paycheck. So it is important that we keep our ego in check. We use that fire to inspire other people. Uh, you know, we cannot say that I am the one who knows it all. When I hire people in my organization, I try to hire a person who knows better than me in their specific area. The reason for that is I will be able to learn more from them. Second, I can rely on them to do a better job because I don't need to know everything. They need to know what they're doing, and I need to trust them. So now you develop that culture. I'm going to use the word ego here. My ego is I want to be the best. I want my industry or my department to be the best, right? Now that's good, but I am keeping my ego in check. In order to be better, I need to collaborate with other units, other countries, other whatever, right? So now we are collaborating so that we can lift each other up. As we are in the global village, it's no more about one unit. It's no more about one country. It's no more about one city, state, or a country. It is about everyone together. In order for us to keep ourselves checked and keep moving forward, we have to practice humility. We have to understand that people can give you a feedback, good or bad, and you need to welcome it rather than keep defending yourself for no reason. We need to focus on our mission. We need to understand that we are the leader who can see beyond what other people cannot see. We have that vision. So now take that and understand from other people, because with this is a good example. When you are sitting in an airport, there are a bunch of cameras in a security room, right? That there are a bunch of cameras on the airport, but a person is sitting in a security room. Now that person is able to see through those cameras. Now imagine you are a leader. If you start listening and seeing what other people are seeing and listening to them, you are broadening your view while you're sitting in your office. So you listen and appreciate what people are bringing to you. They are boots on the ground. They understand better than you. And we have to know that ego is definitely an enemy of connection and growth in leadership. And we have seen that in multiple leadership. And again, I'm not going to make it about politics, but you have seen what's happening in the White House. You see some ego there, and that will block the growth.
Okay, now you gave an example of a corporate world where a leader or a person who's in charge doesn't listen to the people, right? So how would you define a difference between a leader who should have followers and a manager who would have a subordinate team? You know, in common person's perspective, if I would ask you, a leader, yes, he should listen, but he should be able to make his own decision, right? A manager looks for, as you said, that you hire people who have a better knowledge. They're looking, managers particularly looking for a success of a department or a company, but not necessarily for the leader. A leader might have some other goals. A leader might have some other aims. So how important it is for a leader to be a manager or a manager to be a leader, because it's getting a bit confusing, for understanding for a normal person.
All right, so let's break it down in a way. Let's not think about leadership for a second, right? So let's say you I don't know if you like basketball or cricket or whatever, but let's take an example of a basketball team in NBA. It is, and a team is owned by someone, right? That owner hires different coaches. That there is one senior coach or leader of multiple coaches. Then you have an offensive coach, a defensive coach separately. Then you have multiple other coaches. You have people who, physical therapists, and the people who are creating food and all. A bunch of people are doing something towards one goal, and that is towards the success of the team, right? The coach that you have, he the offensive coach, they are working on the offense of that the team. The defensive is working on defense. The coach, the head coach, is looking at overall progress. He's not worried about finances. He's not worried about ads. He's not worried about anything else. He's not worried about anything what's going on with medics, or I mean they are, but not in that other way. The CEO is really, the owner is looking at, are my financials okay? They're looking at, is my 5-year future safe? Who do I need to get or buy in next 2 years? Which of the players are, he's going to have that report from the head coach, that who are the players who are going to leave because of their age or whatever, or their any progress that they have there, right? So now everyone has their own jobs. Now let's translate that into leadership. The leader is the one who's looking at everything with a different lens. When they hire a manager, that's more like a head coach who has a specific job to make sure that team does better as a basketball team, right? Then they hire the junior managers who have their specific jobs to do it. General manager and then junior managers are doing their own jobs. The leader needs to make sure, and is it possible that the head coach that they hired is also a visionary leader? Absolutely, right? They can be. It's not a tag. Leadership is not because of a tag. You are a head coach, does not matter. Go ahead.
Yeah. So now it's getting a bit more confusing. Can we have multiple leaders in the same team or same
Oh,
organization?
absolutely. Absolutely.
So then how would you define having multiple leaders uh, if they are not really aligned and they are going in? For example, head coach, he has a different perspective for a defensive coach or maybe offensive coach. Offensive coach wants to lead the team in the offensive way for a particular game because he knows his offense is going to work. But the head coach says no, and he says no, the defense we needed for this particular game because I know defense would work. So if we have multiple leaders for the same task, it would really be what the players should do.
So when we talk about leadership, it is not about the particular stuff that you're doing, right? It's about leadership. And what did we talk about? A person knows who they are.
Mhm,
Person knows when to talk, when not to talk.
mhm,
Now, when we translate that into an organization, if you are a leader, a coach, and a leader, you know that you're going to welcome that message that is coming to you.
mhm,
Offensive coach and a defensive coach, if they are both leaders, they need to know that their job is on offense, their job is on defense. They definitely can communicate to the head coach, but if they both are leaders, they're not going to have ego. They are going to let that head coach see and let their vision through because they are seeing it. They're going to respect that decision that a head coach will make because they both are leaders. Having multiple leaders does not make any difference because leaders understand each other. Leaders are more like a team players. You pass it to other person, the other person pass it to them, and then you do a goal. It is not about, again, that's why I like that question because it is about checking your ego. If as a leader you said, okay, you know what, head coach told me this, but I'm going to do whatever I want, you're not a leader. Or offensive coach says, I want you to do this to the head coach, and head coach says, no, you're not going to do this, and not respect what offensive coach is good at. Then head coach is not a leader. They are just some head coach. They are saying, it's my ego that I want to do it this way. I'm not going to respect what the offensive coach is saying.
How important it is for a leader, since we are talking about multiple leaders now, and very great example you gave of a basketball team, because it comes, it gives us a broader perspective for understanding this whole thing. How important it is for a leader to have an influence over the team, whether it's a first we go with the influence, then we'll go towards negative and positive.
So leaders, you will see, and we were talking to multiple leaders, right? So when players are playing, they have their own leaders too. One person is leading the team, a captain is leading the team. Then you have influential players who become the MVP of the game or the league or whatever, right? They become the important persons or players of that league. They become the icon of the team, right? When they sit and talk, their words matter, right? So now if we talk about the negative or positive impact, the way that they lead. So for example, a game is happening, the leader, the person that you look up to is now fighting on every small thing. The whole culture of the team will go bad because they're looking up to this person and they will all fight because they're like, oh, he's fighting, so I'm going to fight. When you get the title or that beautification of that you are a leader or I'm a leader, now you're sitting at a different level where you cannot be doing what other people would do and it's okay for them. Now you are leading, people are following you. A coach should not be cursing at people or yelling at people because he's a coach. He is sitting at a different level. I'm going to take it back to the White House. President sitting in White House have different their followers are expecting different things from them. The mistakes that a common person can do, a leader cannot do. Things can that the negatively impact is when we stop looking at things and putting our ego first, and usually that's when the most negative impact happens.
Okay, now
Give me just 1 second. My laptop is gonna die. Give me 1 second, please.
sure.
Go ahead.
Yes. So I was saying, you just gave an example, right? Sometimes it is, again, we discussed this topic in our last podcast, but I just want to bring it back again. Sometimes it's important to take a right decision which is not popular, and that can really impact a leader's influence on the team or on the people, right? To keep that influence, is it necessary? A good leader should take a popular decision, which might harm in a small way, or it might not take you faster to your aims or goals, or should just take what is right, because the influence of a leader on a team is very important.
So they have to take the right decision, and they have to communicate it well. It doesn't matter how does it impact a negative impact or positive impact on the team. You
Mhm.
have to take the right decision. The leaders have to again lead with positivity. They need to look at things differently than other people. That's why they're leaders, because they look at things differently. They have a vision. Sometimes, you can do wrong. It's not like you cannot do wrong. Many times leaders do fail and do things wrong. That's okay. But looking at a failure as just looking at one failure, just as that, hey, I failed on this, or I did something wrong and I'm not a leader, that's not the way to go. You have to focus on that. Okay, it's a learning stage. It's always learning. The situations are changing every day. Therefore, for example, as we move into technology part of it, you will use technology that might be good for your company, might not be good for your company. You may use AI. Some leaders are saying using AI is not ethical. Some people are like, for example, me, I'm saying let's use AI as much as you can, because it's can I be wrong? Can the other person be right? Yes. Can I be right and another person wrong? Yes. But we will figure it out together, because that's how we develop, that's how we grow. But whatever is your vision at this time, for example, as a leader, I am pushing my team to use AI, pushing my team to be ethical while using AI, have integrity, but use AI, use technology. But can it be bad decision from me? Yes, it can be. But at this moment, I don't see it as bad. This moment, I see that I am meeting the future where it needs to be. I'm preparing my team for the future. So my vision at this time is different. So it's again, let's take an example of a basketball team that you are doing. You're saying, hey, be offensive, be on all offense in the first quarter, right? Second quarter, be on offensive again. You're attacking, attacking, attacking. Third quarter, you're saying, you know what? Now you need to fall back a little bit. You need to be on defense. Did my vision change? Did my goal change? No, my goal is still to win the game, but my strategy changed. Can my strategy be wrong? Yes, it can be wrong. Can they do more, they have more points? Yes, they can have more points, but my strategy changed. That's okay. And that does not make me a bad leader. At that moment, this is what I felt right, and I did it. Now, if let's say I go wrong and I lost the game because of my strategy change, that's okay. That's a learning lesson, you know.
Okay. Now, how important it is for a leader, to really use the technology, like you said, use of AI in normal person's life, and to at the same time keep the influence on the people. Because the reason I ask you this is because a lot of what I have seen here, and normally this is how it works in general, that if people have the right knowledge, they might not have, uh, you know, uh, they might not follow that particular person. So, in other words, we are shown what they want us to see. We are told what they want us to hear. But if we use the technology and go beyond the parameter they have done for us, wouldn't that impact on the leadership?
So let's take this as multiple questions. This one question has multiple questions in it. So as a leader, so when you're talking about an industry that you are in, as a leader, you have a vision that you are buying certain things and you want people to use certain things, but now followers wants to use certain technology. Can it go beyond and get bigger?
Mhm,
So let's go back to the basics of leadership.
mhm,
As a leader, should have a vision. You need to have a strategy. You need to communicate it well. And this leader needs to create a pipeline of new leaders so they can do better. Now, if you have not if your strategy, if you're not a good leader, then one person in your company will open up another company and do better than you. Why? Because you did not listen to them when they brought the idea to you that, hey, using this technology will help you do better as a leader or help our company better. That strategy, that idea that that person was bringing it to you, you did not accept that idea. You rejected it, and therefore you're not a good leader. And that person went and opened up their own company and they did better. In order for us to, and that is the ego that would do it to you. That is the ego of the person that, hey, you did not look at it. Also, now let's say if the person came in and there was no ego involved in it. Let's say Muhammad brings the idea to Ali, and Ali says, no, I'm not going to accept it because I see this problem, I see this problem, I see this problem, right? Now Ali is a leader, but Muhammad is saying, hey, you know what? Ali has an ego. Ali did not listen to me. I'm going to go and make my own company and do better. And Muhammad leaves his company and started their own company. I can bet you if Ali was a leader and he gave exact problems that this is the problem with this technology, this is the problem with this technology, this is the problem, Muhammad will not be successful in his own company. Why? Because of Muhammad's own ego, Muhammad did not listen to the feedback that his leader provided and did not work on it. Rather than his ego said, you know what, leave the company, open up your own company because he thinks that it's better. That's not the way to go. As good leader, Ali did a good job, listened to it, give a proper feedback, did not reject the idea, said, this is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong. Now, Muhammad's job was to fix those problems and bring the idea back. But his ego pushed him back out of the company and he will lose. Now, technology is changing, right? Now, we need to start understanding that as a leader, it is not always going to be that, and you have to keep changing. You have to have that agility in your company that is keep pushing you to do better. Your leadership should not be fragile that it will break up your company just because of the people are bringing new things to you. As a leader, you need to develop this culture, strong culture, that if a new technology come in that it can have a positive impact, people can actually discuss it rather than rejecting that idea. Companies that reject that idea will suffer. I will give you an example of AI. The universities that are welcoming the idea of AI today will be stronger tomorrow. Universities that are rejecting the idea of AI may not be that strong. Why? Because they are not looking at the industry that is the future. As you can see, many reports that in 10 years or by 2030, now in 5 years, things will be different. Jobs will be different. Industry will be different. We need to prepare our kids, our youth for that changes that are happening. Our K-12, where our students are learning this new things, they need to learn beyond only science and biology and chemistry and physics. They need to learn how to build these AI bots. They need to learn how to deal with AI because the future lies there and we need to have them understand this very quickly.
So now, what you were saying is that a good leader should really develop him or herself with the technology as it grows, and keep him or herself updated. What happens really on, or okay, in simple words, if we go back 10 years or 20 years, the leaders were different. Technologies were different. We did not have that much of social media. The news were only news what we could hear. I could not be sitting in Pakistan and you could be sitting in USA and doing this podcast, getting the information and making the world like it's a small city or a small village. If a leader does not do that, if a leader does not permits the people, their team, or the people who are under his influence to learn the technology, to really grow, to really come out. As you know that it happens in a lot of parts of the world where they don't allow the people to grow, just because they're scared that if they will grow, they will ask questions, right? And the leader might not have the answer, or even if they have the answer, they might don't want to give it to them. So how to cope up with this whole complication?
Again, very simple. As you said, if a leader have an answer, don't want to give it, they're not leaders, right? Simply, they're just not leaders, right? Leader is the one who's creating bridges, not walls, who is creating this collaborative environments that are overlapping and sharing knowledge. They are creating a culture of championing education and critical thinking. They are creating this support system, that ecosystem of knowledge, curiosity, compassion. They are creating these people who are understanding their civic responsibilities. When we talk about a leader is again not the title. It is that job that you take when you say I'm a leader. You need to act like one. That's why you have to put your ego on the side. It is not about being on top. It is never about being on top. You can be a leader and be a lower level manager, but still do better for your people. You can be a leader and not be a manager at all. You can be a leader and not be in a company at all. So leader will not stop the growth. Leader will always look at a long-term thinking. Leader will look at sustainability and progress over short-term wins. Leader will not think about, hey, so for example, in a game, a player got hurt, and now leader said, oh, you know what? You're my best player. I'm going to have you keep playing. You got hurt a little bit. No, it's the first game. It's okay to lose. It's okay not to play that. This player got hurt. Think about a long-term game. If this player rests for today, rest for this game, he will be able to play the next 5-10 games. If you keep playing this player today, this player will be unfit for the rest of the tournament. So small loss, one game loss, can prevent the loss of the championship. So a leader creates an environment that is socially and economically strong. We cannot stop, as a leader cannot stop the communication among different units, and they should be able to talk. The culture has to be developed, and strong culture has to be developed. And when we talk about empowering the next generation, they create programs that mentor and invest on the people, in people raising their voices in a smart way, and creating a diverse talent that can actually support emerging innovators, that can help people leading in a unique way. Because you're not just leading, you're producing leaders for tomorrow. As a leader, I know that my day will end one day, right? What am I going to do with my knowledge if it's not spread? What am I going to do? Why I as I told you, why do I love talking to you and having this podcast is because I'm seeing the future that first I am learning, second, I'm spreading the knowledge, right? So the person has to think about that. How do I embrace this technology? While embracing this technology, can I guide human values? I'm relying on AI a lot, but am I exploiting it, right? So as a leader, I think about these things. Am I raising a child with technology, or I'm just giving them technology so that I don't have to deal with them, right? You have seen that a lot in the household. Today, the parents, the leaders of the house, are on their cell phones while their kids want their attention. Now, when the future comes and the child is not paying attention to those parents, don't complain, because you did that to them when they needed your leadership, your collaboration. And in a house, that's communication. As a leader of the house, you created a wall for your kids. You need to create that bridge for your kids. And I practice it all the time, and I try not to be on my cell phone in front of the kids, but it happens sometimes. You have to tell yourself, hey, put it on the side. Same thing, as you get bigger, you need to start thinking about uh, creating a leader who is welcoming the change, who is doing this to build a better future for the young kids that are coming in, who are developing a strength in students or people so that they can see beyond what's in front of them. They can see the future, and they can view their selves as leader in the future.
Now, when we are talking about innovation, is it only required in technology, or it's also required in the skills and developments for a leader?
Both. It is developed, as I said, as a leader, you gotta keep learning. You have to be a lifelong learner. You learn from different things. You learn from how your neighbor is cutting the lawn. Hey, you look at how you know what, they're doing something good. They're doing something different. As a leader, this is what you do. You learn from things that are happening around you. You learn from the TV shows. You learn from the books. You keep learning all the time. You focus on yourself in that way. As I said, you need to have a purpose. And as a leader, once you have that why, then you're okay, because you are pushing yourself in learning new skills, new abilities, while you're learning new technologies. I don't need to know every technology as a leader. So, for example, now push that leadership into a CEO of a company. As a CEO of a company, I don't need to know everything of how technology works to do everything. Why? Because I'm hiring people who are going to know everything. I just need to welcome those ideas and say, you know what? Yes, I thought that Excel is a great tool to play around with the data, but now you have this new tool. Okay, fine, let's use that. Who cares? You as a leader needs to welcome that change in your environment. You may not need to know how to deal with it, but you need to give them enough room to your team so that they can play with the new technology that is out there. You cannot think locally as a leader now. This is very, very crucial part. If we are looking at the future, uh, we cannot look locally. We cannot only think what is happening in the United States. United States is far behind in technology or AI than other countries. Look at what's happening in China. I am looking into, as a leader, if you are a leader, you are looking into other countries. You're in education. You're not looking at only how education is being run in the United States. You need to look beyond that, beyond borders. What is happening in Norway? What is happening in Iceland? What is happening in India? What is happening in China? What is happening in South Korea? All of those things that has to be done. Technology updates or other issues. We have to communicate clearly with with your team about different technologies that are happening. Your team needs to feel strong that my leader is okay with me bringing this idea to them. This new technology came up. Okay, I would like to use it. Now your leader says no. Create that culture that your person can say, "Can I please ask why?" Right? First of all, a leader should explain instead of saying flat no, say, "Hey, I'm saying no because of X, Y, and Z." Sometimes there are hidden things that you cannot tell your team, and you tell them that, "Hey, for certain reason, I cannot explain you all, but we are not going to make this decision at this time." Right? So it is important that we have to innovate and experiment. This, as a leader, is very important, that you have to experiment. There are things that are you don't know until you test them, right? That's why you need to create this company or this culture that is looking into innovation, educational innovation, and technological innovation, social innovation, whatever that is, right? But you need to experiment. If you don't experiment, if you're not bold enough to experiment, you will not be able to gain. You may fail, you know, multiple times, but that failing will help you learn how to do things right. And it will also build this resilience in you. It will build this that mode that it's okay to fail. So it will help your team, and it will help you build a legacy as a leader.
Okay, now I will ask you one last question. If you can give us a couple of key influential points with the innovation, which would let's say, what are the five or four maybe key innovation tools or skill set a leader should grow in to have a direct positive impact on his influence?
So first, I will tell you that invest in yourself
Mm.
as a leader in order to have the better future through technology or through anything. You need to invest in yourself. You have to understand that you are the one, and we have discussed that in previous podcasts too, that you have to take care of yourself, your complete well-being. You are the leader who people are looking up to you. You are the player who are the MVP. So everything that you say and do makes a difference. You are the one who's giving direction. So you need to invest yourself, give yourself time. You need to work out. You need to eat well, healthy, and all. You need to take care of yourself. And you need, second part is you need to assess yourself and your goals and visions at all times. That means that you are really saying, hey, I am doing this. Am I doing it right? Am I doing it wrong? Third is investing in the people. Yes, the whole team, but also the people around you. Depending on how big your team is, you need people around you who can guide you. So let's say if I'm talking to you about as a leader of a university, or a mayor or a governor or a president, the people around you very closely, you have to make sure they're the right people because their views are impacting your leadership. Because there are going to be times, and this is a very important point, there are going to be time when you as a leader is mentally and physically tired. You are burning out. You're tired. The words of the team that is around you is going to be impactful. So you have to know who you are surrounding yourself with. They might not be leaders. They might be good at something that they do, but their words are impacting you. Make the right decision. So your advisors needs to be perfect. They need to be great. You need, and fourth thing, you cannot give your view or cannot let your view as a leader be be blurry ever. And that is very, very difficult to do because at times it happens. You have to reset. What are the things that can make your vision blurry? Is you have no understanding. There's some calamity happen. There's some event happen that you did not think of. For example, a storm came, or a chaos happened, or war happened. Your vision got blurry, but you need to know how to reset your vision and go back to supporting your other people. Last one, the fifth one. I mean, I can go beyond that, but you asked for five, so I'm going to give you the last one. Always lead with empathy. First 4 points, I really talked about your own self. I know it's selfish as a leader, but you need to know these things very closely. Fifth one is empathy. You always lead with empathy. You always have an open communication with the people. You always know that everybody that is working with you is working to make this team stronger. That will help you build the trust, that it will help you have less burnout, that will help you have less blurry vision, and you will be stronger as a leader and you will develop better team than you can even think of.
Well, as always, once you really get to the peak of anything, we are almost at the end of the time again. I would like to thank you for your time and your thoughts and whatever more clarity which you're giving us about the leadership. And definitely, as we always do, inshallah, we will have another podcast. We will start the next podcast with the same topic because I have another couple of questions which I'm going to keep them with me. And then next Saturday, inshallah, we'll see you with a new topic.
All right, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah.